Hello everybody and welcome to the top 10 UK Championship episodes of Series 3. Here we will cast our eyes over the 16 UK Championship heats as well as the semi-finals and grand final episodes and then come out with a 10 through to 1 order. Fight quality, episode narrative and general surrounding circumstances will all be a factor. So without any further ado, let's get into this particular top 10, and do let us know your own order down in the comments. Number 10, Heat N. Opening up this particular 10 is Heat N of the UK Championships. Thing 2 was the victor in this one, and it was in good form throughout, with smothering victories over Prizefighter and Cerberus happening either side of a particularly fan favourite fight involving All-Talk and the Addams family, as they were involved in a high-octane and aggressive driving battle. Aside from Thing 2, we also had some bizarre and hilarious pittings involving Cerberus. Well, the second battle anyway. Kilohertz didn't even need the help of the Cypriot machine for its demise to occur in that particular fight, but Cerberus still did take the title of the fastest battle in Robot Wars with its KO of Griffon, a feat which it held all the way through to the 7th Wars. Heat N was a heat that, although not full of fantastic fights or damaging weapons, did still give us some proper old school Robot Wars driving and antics in exchange, and this helps make Heat N a solid opening episode to this list.
What's happened here? To Cerberus and the steel clubbing tail, the linkage is gone! It's come away! It's flipped up and over! A decisive attack from Thing 2 in the heat final!
Number 9, Heat G. Remarkably, considering the lineup of names in this episode, Heat G featured no less than 4 machines that would reach the semi-finals at some point in their Robot Wars careers, with Napalm and Hardvark already having achieved that goal going into this episode. However, semi-final caliber performances were not delivered by either, with Napalm only just clawing its way through a judge's decision against Caterkiller, while Hardvark ran out of gas late on against Henry. Thankfully, we were given some animal-themed inspiration for the rest of the heat. No, not from you though, Bulldog Breed, as RoboPig provided a memorable method of losing in round 2, while the starting reserve Stegosaurus showed off its raw speed and brute force unlike anything seen to that point in Robot Wars, with its wins over Aurak's Revenge and Henry. It was no surprise that come the heat final, an unconvincing Napalm was thoroughly battered by Steg. However, that didn't make it any less entertaining, as Napalm's body panels were torn and flapped about in the wind, and all that damage coming from a robot with a lifter and some speed. Ultimately, some limping round 1 fights and a lack of competition for Steg's high performance level does limit this heat in its placing, but it's still a fun watch overall.
What a brave effort from Napalm! Looks like some old car that's been through the mill and crumpled in a wrecker's yard, and he's still going, just about, and on the attack, would you believe, right at the end!
Cease!
Well, that's a tremendous final!
Number 8, Heat J. Heat J of Series 3 is about as even a heat as you could see on paper, with a range of functional machines with useful solid weaponry. This unsurprisingly led to some competitive round 1 fights, where Excalibur and Centurion first exchanged axe blows, while even the eventual Heat finalists 101 and King Buxton had their scares against Overkill and Eric respectively. Round 2 was where King Buxton and 101 stepped up a level though. Consistent ramming and pressure was enough to grind down Centurion and Weldor, and that set up the second chapter in the Simon Harrison and Mike Franklin series of fights. Here, a versatile driving match was played out, with high-speed action and tactical periods aplenty. And let's not forget, Simon Harrison even broke his joystick in all the fun too. A proper good episode for the Robot Wars purists.
Eric towards the pit, oh goodness me! And King Buxton is left teetering on the brink of oblivion, and Eric, oh no, has backed itself down into the pit! King Buxton spun away and Eric went down!
Number 7, Heat O. Next up is the penultimate heat from the UK Championships. Facet and Dietor were the two names with the most expectation after past War's veterans GBH and Nemesis were upgraded, and they both started strongly with dominant performances over Terminal Ferocity and Sting 2 respectively. However, it was the underweight, less flashy flipper in Firestorm that took the light away from Facet just as quickly as it gained it, with a cold, calculated flip in round 2. Dietor continued its uplifting journey through the heat after its hurried rebuild with a controlled display against the Steel Avenger, but it all went up in flames again for the boys from Ireland with a one and done flip enough for Firestorm to seal Heat victory. Overall, Heat O helped provide some good content from the main names in the Heat, with Facet's power, Dietor's custom issues, and Firestorm's beginnings enough to satisfy many. Ultimately, a few too many one-sided battles do prevent this Heat climbing higher, as does the poor Heat final itself, but still a worthy episode it is.
The team members, Zulu, Kerem, Byrne, they rip and wears red and black fluffy underpants as well. Maybe he's got a secret store! He'll need something, certainly, because Dietor's up and over!
Number 6, Heat K. Many a time, the champion of a series would appear in Heat A of the next series. However, in Panic Attack's case, we had to wait all the way through until Heat K to see it again. And although Kim Davis's machine did suffer from driving issues, this heat was still jam-packed full of entertainment. Newcomer Exterminator was the main highlight, with a unique KO attack on Hefty and an iconic pitting moment featuring Judge Shred. Panic Attack itself was not down and out, as it still managed to knock out Axios and Toe Cutter, but it definitely wasn't at its best. And this set up a tantalising prospect in the Heat final. Could Exterminator take advantage of Panic Attack's sloppy form to progress to the semi-finals? For a large period of time, yes it could. As during the Heat final between the two, Exterminator suffocated the champion and charged it around the arena. Panic Attack's class finally shone through in a critical ram on Exterminator, which was coupled with a gorgeous slow-mo shot to boot, and the Welsh machine's turnaround helped cap off a battle rightly nominated for the Battle of the Series. Fantastic stuff.
Now can they turn Exterminator up and over? This could be crucial! A crucial moment! Exterminator rolling! Goodness me!
Number 5, SemiFinal A. The semi-finals of Robot Wars are typically where things stepped up a notch. The less capable machines have been sent home, and the best 12 to 16 machines are left to scrap it out. Series 3's Semi-Final A was one of those episodes where higher standards certainly were on display, helped by some terrific Round 2 fights involving Chaos 2, Mace 2, Firestorm, and Panic Attack. That's not to say that Round 1 was bad either, with some good driving tussles involving Pitbull and Thing 2 before frustrating KO moments, while Mace 2 and Bigger Brother also were involved in a good battle. Ultimately, the potential of even better fights developing in Round 1 if not for the arena spike showing up does stop this episode from reaching the proper top bracket of this list, but a worthy semi-final it was.
Little bit fortunate perhaps, this time up and over! Starlight, star bright, the star of Mace is out of sight!
Number 4, Heat H. Heat H of Series 3 turned out to be a fantastic episode, full of destruction and classic fights, although you wouldn't have exactly thought that that would be the case as Alligator and Corporal Punishment became stuck together in the episode's opening fight. Thankfully, virtually everything else in this episode was of a high standard, and Hypno-Disc's debut on the show certainly helped a lot in that regard, with its victories over Robogeddon and Stealth etched into the mind of every Robot Wars fan. Berserk 2 was its Heat final opponent, and it had put on some good displays of its own in the previous rounds with its rear lifter. However, it was to be Berserk 2's armour that was the surprising foil to Hypno-Disc in the Heat final, with the Rose family's machines struggling to get up to speed and cause damage capable of replicating their previous displays. In an incredibly close battle with drama and house robot damage, it was likely the damage that Hypno-Disc caused to Berserk 2 in the form of scuffs and slits which were enough to give it the edge in the judge's decision. Heat H was an episode with destruction and deliberation, and that's enough to take 4th place on this list.
Oh, stealth! Hardly anything left now! Down to bare bones! Groggy! Reeling in dismay! More mayhem and machinery! The machinations in the minds of the Hypno-Disc team! Malevolent!
Number 3. Heat M. Heat M was known for years as a classic Robot Wars episode, and with it full of legendary machines, many a classic Roboteer, some unique fights and upsets, and even controversy involving the crowd, you can certainly see why. This episode was just packed full of content. Cassius came back with a fresh design, though that didn't stop its usual habits of attacking the house robots in round 1. While Pussycat's unique pitting, Scutter's Revenge's more standard one, and Thermidor, well, moving, started the journey of multiple teams and machines. Cassius 2's dramatic self-pitting in round 2 saw Rex Garrard's career in the show sadly come to an end, before further shocking circumstances meant that despite breaking down, it was Scutter's Revenge that progressed through to the semi-finals after Pussycat's illegal hardened blade had shattered. This heat really had such variety and versatility, and although the battles themselves never truly reached a high standard for pure fighting, the narrative and drama certainly was there in abundance.
Is that the same blade? They've put another diamond blade on there. A diamond saw blade. Certainly looks darker than the one we had before. Taking on Scudder. Oh! And it was a different blade! It's shattered! It's a completely different blade! And they could be in trouble here now, Pussycat!
Number 2. The Grand Final. Series 3's Grand Final saw many a first. The first ever Uta. The first time Hypno-Disc was defeated. And the first of many times the 3rd place playoff didn't go ahead. However, we shouldn't let that last point take much away from this episode, because the in-battle content we did get was superb. Chaos 2's Eliminator exploits against Firestorm have already been mentioned, although that doesn't make it any less impressive, while Hypno-Disc was put through a brilliant and brutal bout against Stegosaurus, as the dinosaur bot that was only a reserve at the start of the series put on a spirited display before eventually being cut down to size. The title fight itself was hyped up to be one for the ages, with Chaos 2's flipping power pitted against Hypno-Disc's destructive spin. What we got between the two sadly wasn't the classic we had hoped for, and this, coupled with less battles and a ton of filler, ultimately does stop the Grand Final episode being the list topper in this countdown. Still, Chaos 2's flip on Hypno-Disc and the subsequent rampage on the House Robots was still iconic. And Evil Weevil even won the robotics soccer title without scoring a goal, so really, what is there to complain about?
The champions want to beat everyone, taking on Shunt and flipping Shunt over, so 2 of the House Robots done. Off comes Shunt's exhaust stack. Chaos 2 once more toying with the House Robots and destroying them. This is great fun, but they will be back, of course, and revenge will be in their hearts for the champions in the next series. But George Francis and his team, magnificent champions.
Number 1. Heat E. And at number 1 we have Chaos 2's debut Heat, the start of a legend, and it started its Robot Wars life with some terrific flips on Crocodilotron, Sonic, and the House Robots. For the disproportionately brilliant level that Chaos 2 was at in Series 3, it's easy to think that this heat was just a Chaos 2 parade. However, Chaos 2 wasn't the only machine treating us with its battles, as Roger Plant's The Big Cheese carried out 2 of the very best pitting KOs in the history of the show, back to back, with a dramatic lift and dump on shrapnel before an axe pin and spin helped give Anarachophobia some new fears. The two unsurprisingly met in the Heat final and produced the official battle of the series in a fight where the Big Cheese lifted and pinned Chaos 2 before Chaos 2 gave us some classic camera shots in its flips and that final KO attack. As if the scuffle between the two competitors wasn't enough, the fight even ended with the Big Cheese completely scalping House Robot Sergeant Bash even in defeat. This just proved how powerful both machines were, and their form leading up to the heat final, as well as the heat final itself, really did top off the perfect cake of a heat. And if you need even more convincing that this heat was perfect, then go to the robotic soccer once again, where Evil Weevil failed to score. Again. There really is no argument with that, is there?
Look at the shredded side. The big cheese torn. Oh, great last ever though. To flip Bash up and over, and Bash has lost his helmet. Oh, that's splendid stuff. The big cheese still capable of wonderful War's entertainment.
So, thank you everybody for watching. What did you think were the best episodes of Series 3? Was there an episode that you particularly liked, or even simply had a fondness for? Let us know your thoughts down below. Until next time, goodbye.